I make jokes on this channel when I live stream games about how I'm not much of a gamer, or at least not when compared to those YouTubers that play games all day while I sit around like a nerd with my books. But if there's one thing I was really good at in the first Star Wars Battlefront, it was starfighter combat. So I was very excited to get my hands on Battlefront II at EA Play to try out the new vehicles. So in this video, I'll be covering not only the new starfighters, but the other playable vehicles in the game so far. We'll talk a little bit about lore and how it all translates into the game. Let's start with the N1 Starfighter. It's of course recognizable as the starfighter from the Phantom Menace. It's a single pilot craft that was primarily built for show over combat. Its sleek design and polished chromium was meant to look impressive for flybys and parades. The game reflects that pretty well because it's the least expensive reinforcement in the game and, at least in my experience, goes down faster than the V-Wing. Its abilities include an astromech droid for repairs, proton torpedoes, and weapon overcharge. The V-Wing was actually built for combat and can be seen in Revenge of the Sith as well as multiple canon books. It was the predecessor of the TIE Fighter and it's much more aggressive than the N1. It was introduced closer to the end of the Clone Wars and remained a part of the Galactic Empire until it was phased out in favor of the more cost-effective TIE Fighter. In the game, its abilities include a speed boost, a laser barrage, and a heat sink, so it's similar to the TIE Interceptor from the first Battlefront game. Moving on to the Separatist side, we'll start with the Vulture Droid. I guess I could say this is the Trade Federation side because the coloring matches the brown of Episode 1 and not the Separatist blue seen later. They're kind of a mix between the N1 and the V-Wing. They have the speed boost and the laser barrage, but they're a little weaker and are armed with an energy torpedo. In general, air combat is so much fun. In this specific map and mode, they weren't really necessary, so I didn't spend as much time in the cockpit as I would have liked. Flying feels very tight and responsive, and the combat is just hard enough. It's not as easy to get kills as the first Battlefront, but kills happen often enough, and it's so satisfying to pull off. Switching to ground vehicles, the AT-RT, or All-Terrain Recon Transport, felt great to control. In lore, it was the predecessor to the AT-DP and AT-ST, but this smaller design is ideal for Naboo's narrow streets. It can also be seen in Revenge of the Sith, and it made many appearances in the Clone Wars. In the game, they're armed with motion scanners to help find and destroy enemy troops, as well as an ion charge. The Armored Assault Tank is another vehicle that can be seen heavily in the prequels and the Clone Wars. Unfortunately, I didn't get any footage of myself using it, but I know it had a siege mode that would basically shut down all functions and pour all energy into the cannon, making it crazy powerful. And finally, the Multi-Troop Transport is technically a usable vehicle in the game as well. It's the Droid Transport also seen in the Phantom Menace. Similar to the AT-AT and Walker Assault in Battlefront 1, you can enter the MTT for a time and fire out of it. This game mode is basically Walker Assault and will actually be called Galactic Assault in the final release. In our build, you did damage to the MTT by firing ion disruptors at it. I believe in the final version, firing a disruptor will then make the MTT vulnerable to other fire similar to the Y-Wing runs in Walker Assault. Also, we couldn't destroy the MTT because the game was designed to at least run into the palace and make the games a little longer. I've said this before, but the game mode was a ton of fun. I played it for 3 hours and it wasn't enough. The various classes and vehicles provided so much variety that I didn't even get footage of everything I should have. I can't wait for more, but that's it for today. If you haven't already, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, and consider checking out my Patreon page. As always, thanks for watching, and may the Force be with you.